Evil can take many forms. So can we.
Transformers: Dark of the Moon, new
Yes.
movie coming. And with that, a game, of course.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
Yes. You know, it's kind of funny with the history of Transformers games, because they've been sort of crap for most of the time, but there've been some good ones. I think there was a good one on PS2 by Melbourne House.
Yep.
And then we got one last year, or for Cybertron, from the people at High Moon Studios. And it is High Moon Studios once again who are doing this Transformers game, but it's not the same team. It's a different team at High Moon Studios. And we should
Also, War for Cybertron was based on...
It wasn't based on a movie.
It wasn't based on a movie, no, it was based on the actual comic.
Yeah, and
the
same could be said about Transformers on PS2, that was based on, I think, the cartoons or something like that. The ones. So, and
it kind of makes a whole difference, I feel. Michael Bay Transformers, what's that all about?
And funnily enough, that's one of the things that they wanted to bring to this game, as compared to War for Cybertron, the Michael Bay feeling. So
hey,
I guess we can expect a lot of explosions everywhere. Things like
Very skinny, weird Transformers.
Yeah.
Those are not
sure
Transformers.
I don't know. Anyway,
they gave Optimus Prime a mouth. Come on.
Well,
I'm sorry. Okay, back to the game. There's actually a game coming.
I don't know if he has a mouth in the game, actually. Yes.
Get that mouth out of there.
Anyway, the game is set between the second and third movie. So it's not really based on the events of the third movie, which, you know, usually a sign that we might not get a totally crappy game.
Who knows?
And what it does is sort of bridges the gaps, and it follows some of the characters that you'll see in the third game. It introduces some of the concepts in the third movie, and you know, things that you'll see there, and sort of hinting at it and what happened in between the two movies. So that's all of a nice idea. But fans of War for Cybertron should not look at this as a sequel to that game. I mean, that's a different game. This is your typical movie license, third-person action, level-by-level game. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. I've seen a number of levels, some with Bumblebee, some with Ironhide, and they seem sort of linear. They're tied to one Transformer, so when you're playing a level, it will be one of the Transformers that you'll be both Autobot and Decepticon, so it's going to mix all of that stuff in there, and it's going to be different characters for each level. Of course, the developers say that that's, you know, for them to be able to mold that level for that specific Transformer, which of course is true, but on the other hand, you don't get the freedom of choice, you don't get to experiment anything with different alternatives, and thus it's a little bit of a less dynamic experience, of course. What was something that I came away with that I thought was nice was the way that they've actually introduced like a third form, or third shape, the stealth force, which is a concept that's introduced in the third movie. Basically what they've done with this is that they've created sort of a mixture between your vehicle shape and your robot shape, where you are able to strafe and shoot while still being a vehicle. So what that adds is well, I mean, you can shoot when you're a vehicle, of course, but you can strafe from side to side and sort of play it like more of a shooter, which, you know, makes you don't have to feel as locked into either now I'm shooting and now I'm racing away, or, you know, things like that. So that was nice, and we also got to see some very different levels, some flying level, but even the flying levels was sort of, it wasn't really flying, it was more like a boss fight that you'd find anywhere else, and, you know, it felt like they wanted to have the same control schemes for every robot, everything in the game, and by doing that they're also sort of limiting themselves a little bit. So it will feel familiar when you're playing as any of the robots in any situation. You will have the same sort of control setup, at the same time, that will also feel. I did get the feeling that this game might be a little bit repetitive, you know, in terms of the gameplay.
So really, is there anything, except if you happen to be a huge Michael Bay fan and just love his new Transformers movies, is there any real reason why why the rest of us more or less shouldn't just assume this is a normal licensed game?
Normal third-person action.
Yeah. Is there anything? Okay, you can strafe, but that's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're gonna get is that kind of standard thing. If it's polished enough, if the multiplayer is good, they didn't talk anything about multiplayer. You know, it might be a decent game. I mean, High Moon have proven that they can do a Transformers game well. So, you know, all hope isn't lost. But I wouldn't expect a game on the level of War for Cybertron. Not at this point, not from what I've seen. But that's my opinion.
The ultimate battle is coming.